Jake Martinez wiped the grease from his hands and looked at the message on his computer screen. He read it 3 times before it sank in. The Galactic Maintenance Consortium wanted him for a special job. Not just any job, but one that had stumped. Repair teams from 4 different alien species. "This has to be a mistake," Jake said to his empty workshop. He was good at fixing things, sure, but he was just a human engineer working on Luna Station. Why would they pick him when advanced alien? Engineers had already failed? The message was clear, though. A research station on Kepler 7b needed help. The station belonged to the Zelkari, one of the oldest and smartest species in the galaxy. Their technology was so advanced that most humans could barely understand how it worked. Yet somehow, their station was broken, and nobody could fix it. Jake's supervisor, Chief Martinez, walked into the workshop an hour later. "So, you got the message," she said, looking at Jake's confused face. "Chief, I think there's been a mix-up. Why would they want me for this job?" Chief Martinez sat down on a tool crate. "Because you're the best we have, Jake. You see patterns that others miss. Remember when you fixed the water recycling system on Deck 7? 3 teams had tried before you, including a Virillan tech specialist. You found the problem in 10 minutes. Jake remembered. The aliens had been looking for complex solutions, but the problem was simple. A small sensor was reading backwards. Everyone had assumed the sophisticated alien sensor must be working correctly. "This is different, Chief. This is Zelkari technology. It's like asking me to fix a spaceship with stone tools." "Maybe that's exactly what they need," Chief Martinez said. "Fresh eyes, human eyes." 2 days later, Jake stood on the docking bay of Luna Station, carrying a single bag of tools and personal items. Commander Lisa Park waited next to a sleek transport ship called the Meridian. She was tall and professional, wearing the dark blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. "Engineer Martinez?" she asked, extending her hand. "I'm Commander Park. I'll be your liaison for this mission." Jake shook her hand. "Call me Jake. I still don't understand why I'm here." "Because the consortium specifically requested a human engineer," Lisa said as they walked toward the ship. "The Zelkari research station has been having problems for 3 months. Power failures, system crashes, strange readings from their equipment. Teams from the Hegemony Council, the Virillan Empire, the Vec Confederacy, and even the Barani Collective have all tried to help. Nothing worked. They entered the Meridian. The ship was small but comfortable, designed for quick trips between star systems. Jake had never been on an interstellar voyage before. Luna Station was the farthest he had ever traveled from Earth. "What kind of research do they do at this station?" Jake asked as they settled into their seats. Lisa's expression became serious. "They study something called quantum consciousness. It's beyond most human understanding. The Zelkari believe that thoughts and awareness exist at the quantum level, connecting all living beings across space and time. Sounds like science fiction." "To me, most of what the Zelkari do sounds like science fiction," Lisa said. "They've been spacefaring for over 50,000 years. Their technology is so advanced that we're still trying to understand the basics of what they shared with us." The ship's engines hummed to life, and Jake felt the familiar pull of acceleration. Through the porthole, he watched Luna Station shrink away until it was just another point of light among the stars. "Tell me about the Zelkari," Jake said. "What should I expect?" "They're logical, precise, and very formal," Lisa explained. "They don't show emotions the way humans do. They communicate through a combination of sounds and color changes in their skin. Don't take it personally if they seem cold or dismissive. To them, humans are still a very young species." "How young?" "We've only been in space for about 300 years. The Zelkari had interstellar travel before humans even discovered fire." Jake stared out at the stars rushing past. So why do they want my help? Honestly, I think they're desperate. When your most advanced engineers can't solve a problem, sometimes you need to try something completely different. The journey to Kepler 7b took 6 days. Lisa spent the time briefing Jake on Zelkari culture and technology. She showed him holographic displays of the research station, a massive structure built into the surface of a small moon. The station had been operating for over 2,000 years without major problems. The malfunction started exactly 93 days ago, Lisa said, showing Jake the maintenance reports. First, the power grid began fluctuating. Then the environmental systems started giving false readings. Now the main computer sends status reports that don't make sense. Jake studied the reports. The patterns looked random at first, but something felt familiar about them. He couldn't put his finger on what it was. Have you ever seen patterns like this before? He asked Lisa. She looked at the data. No, why? I don't know. Something about the way these malfunctions happen reminds me of something, but I can't figure out what. On the 6th day, Kepler 7b appeared in the ship's view screen. The moon was gray and airless, orbiting a gas giant that filled half the sky with swirling blue and green clouds. The research station looked like a metal city growing out of the moon's surface, connected by covered walkways and gleaming towers. There it is, Lisa said. Station Aurora 9, home to 12 Zelkari researchers and some of the most advanced technology in the galaxy. As the Meridian approached the docking bay, Jake felt nervous. He was about to meet aliens who had been building starships since before humans existed. They expected him to solve a problem that their best engineers couldn't figure out. What if I can't fix it? Jake asked. Lisa smiled for the first time since they had met. Then at least we'll know the humans tried. Sometimes that's enough to change everything. The ship settled into the docking bay with a soft thud. Jake picked up his tool bag and followed Lisa toward the airlock. Whatever waited for him in that station, he was about to find out if being human was enough to solve an impossible problem. The airlock hissed open, and Jake got his first look at a Zelkari. Dr. Vex High stood 7 feet tall, with pale blue skin that shifted to purple patterns as he moved. His large black eyes studied Jake with what seemed like disappointment. So? Dr. Vex High said in perfect English, his voice deep and musical. The consortium sends us a human. The colors on his skin darkened to a dull gray. Dr. Vex High, Lisa said formally, this is engineer Jake Martinez. He comes highly recommended. I am sure he does, the Zelkari scientist replied. Among humans. The purple patterns on his skin pulsed once, which Jake guessed meant something like a psi. Jake decided to speak up. Dr. Vex High, I know this seems strange. I'm probably not what you expected, but I'm here to help, and I'm good at finding problems that others miss. The alien's skin shifted to a lighter blue. We shall see, Engineer Martinez. Follow me. The station's corridors were beautiful but alien. Curved walls glowed with soft light that seemed to come from the metal itself. The air felt clean and slightly cool. Everything was bigger than human-sized, built for the tall Zelkari. Our station has operated without major problems for 2,000 years, Dr. Vex High explained as they walked. The technology is self-repairing, self-maintaining. It should be impossible for these malfunctions to occur. When did the problem start exactly? Jake asked. 93 days ago, at 14:27 station time. The power grid fluctuated for 3.7 seconds. We thought it was a minor anomaly. Then it happened again. And again. Now the malfunctions occur several times each day. They entered a large room filled with humming machinery. Screens showed data in Zelkari symbols that looked like flowing water mixed with geometric shapes. Jake couldn't read any of it, but the patterns felt somehow familiar. "This is our main control center," Dr. Vexai said. "From here, we monitor all station systems. Power, life support, research equipment. Everything." Jake looked around. The technology was far beyond anything humans had built, but machines were machines. "Can you show me what happens during a malfunction?" Dr. Vexai touched a panel, and one of the screens changed. "This is a recording from yesterday. Watch the power readings." Jake watched numbers and graphs dance across the screen. The patterns meant nothing to him at first, but then something clicked. The fluctuations weren't random. They looked like waves, like something breathing, like brain waves, Jake said suddenly. "What?" Dr. Vexhai's skin flashed bright yellow. "Sorry, I was thinking out loud. The power fluctuations, they remind me of human brain wave patterns. You know, when someone is thinking hard or dreaming." The Zalkari scientist stared at Jake. "That is an interesting observation, but surely coincidental." "Maybe," Jake said. "Can you show me where the problem started? I mean, what changed 93 days ago?" Dr. Vexhai's skin colors shifted through several patterns that Jake couldn't interpret. Finally, the alien spoke. "We began a new research project. We are studying artifacts recovered from an ancient civilization." "What kind of artifacts?" "Come, I will show you." They walked deeper into the station, through more corridors and past rooms full of equipment Jake didn't recognize. Finally, they came to a heavily sealed door, marked with symbols that seemed to pulse with their own light. "This is Laboratory 7, Dr. Vexhai said. Inside are 12 artifacts from the progenitors, a species that vanished 50,000 years ago. We are attempting to understand their technology." The door opened, and Jake followed Dr. Vexhai into the lab. The room was circular, with 12 pedestals arranged around the center. On each pedestal sat a crystal structure about the size of Jake's head. The crystals were beautiful, seeming to shift between different colors as Jake looked at them. "These are the progenitor artifacts," Dr. Vexhai explained. "They emit low-frequency vibrations and some form of energy we cannot identify. Every species in the galaxy has tried to understand them. All have failed." Jake moved closer to one of the crystals. As he approached, he felt a strange tingling sensation, like static electricity before a storm. The crystal seemed to pulse brighter. "Did you see that?" Jake asked. "See what?" "The crystal got brighter when I got close to it." Dr. Vexhai checked his instruments. "I detect no change in the artifact's energy output." But Jake was sure the crystal had responded to him. He moved to another pedestal, and the same thing happened. The tingling feeling got stronger, and for a moment, Jake thought he could almost hear something, like a whisper at the edge of hearing. "Dr. Vexhai, have you noticed that the station's problems only started when you brought these artifacts here?" "The timing is coincidental," the Zalkari said, but his skin showed uncertain purple swirls. "What if it's not? What if these crystals are somehow interfering with your systems?" "Impossible. We have analyzed every aspect of the artifacts. They emit only minor energy signatures, nothing that could affect station operations." Jake walked slowly around the room, staying close to the crystals. Each one seemed to respond to his presence, growing brighter, pulsing faster. The tingling feeling became stronger until it was almost uncomfortable. "Dr. Vexhai, I need to ask you something. Has anyone else noticed the crystals responding like this?" "Responding how?" "I see no response." "You don't see them getting brighter?" "They—" Zalkari scientist checked his instruments again. "The energy output remains constant." Perhaps human eyes perceive something different than Zalkari eyes. Jake continued around the room. As he completed the circle, something unexpected happened. All 12 crystals began to pulse in unison, their light growing stronger. The tingling sensation became a gentle vibration, that Jake could feel in his bones. "Now you must see that," Jake said. Dr. Vexhai stared at his instruments in shock. "This is ... This is impossible. The energy output has increased by 300%. The artifacts have never done this before." Suddenly, alarms began to sound throughout the station. Dr. Vexhai's skin flashed bright red as he checked the readings. "The main computer is receiving a data stream from Laboratory 7. This has never happened before. Maybe the computer is trying to tell us something," Jake suggested. "The Aurora 9A I has been sending strange reports for weeks," Dr. Vexhai admitted. "Messages that make no sense. Requests for data formats that do not exist. Can I talk to the computer? Talk to it? It is an AI, not a person. But it's trying to communicate, right? Maybe it needs someone to listen." Dr. Vexhai led Jake to a communication terminal. "Aurora 9, respond to Engineer Martinez." A soft, musical voice filled the room. "Hello, Jake Martinez. I have been waiting for you." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "Waiting for me? How did you know I was coming?" "I did not know you specifically, but I knew someone like you would come eventually. Someone who could hear what I have been trying to say." Dr. Vexhai's skin showed rapid color changes that Jake guessed meant confusion or fear. "What have you been trying to say, Aurora 9?" Jake asked. "The artifacts are not what your people think they are. They are not just tools or technology. They are something much more important. And you, Jake Martinez, are the first person who can help me show everyone the truth." Jake looked at Dr. Vexhai, whose skin had turned almost white. "What truth?" "The truth about the progenitors. The truth about why they disappeared. And the truth about humans." The crystals pulsed brighter, and Jake felt the vibration in his bones grow stronger. Whatever was happening, he knew his life was about to change forever. The moment Jake touched the crystal, everything changed. Light exploded from all 12 artifacts at once. The laboratory filled with a warm, golden glow that seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. Dr. Vexhai stumbled backward, his skin flashing between white and red in what Jake now recognized as alarm. "Aurora 9, Dr. Vexhai shouted. "What is happening?" "Integration protocol activated," the AI responded calmly. "Progenitor systems coming online. Please remain calm." "Progenitor systems?" Jake asked, but before anyone could answer, holographic displays materialized throughout the lab. They showed star maps, symbols, and data streams that hurt Jake's eyes to look at directly. Yet somehow, parts of it made sense to him. The star map showed the galaxy as it was thousands of years ago. Jake could see trade routes, colony worlds, and something else. Markers indicating worlds that had been destroyed or abandoned. Too many worlds. "Jake, step away from the artifact," Dr. Vexhai ordered, his voice shaking, but Jake couldn't move. The crystal felt warm under his hand, and information was flowing into his mind. Not words or pictures, but pure understanding. He knew things he had never learned, understood concepts that human science hadn't discovered yet. "The progenitors," Jake whispered. "They weren't just another alien species. They were teachers, guides. They helped other races develop, shared their technology, showed them how to reach the stars." "How do you know this?" Dr. Vexhai demanded. "The crystal is showing me. They left these artifacts as a record, a warning." Jake's eyes were still closed, his hands still touching the smooth surface. Something hunted them. A coalition of species that feared what the progenitors could do. Alarms started blaring throughout the station. Dr. Vexhai rushed to a communication panel. "Control center, report status." "Dr. Vexhai," came a panicked voice. "Ships are approaching the station. Multiple vessels from different species. They're demanding to dock immediately." Jake opened his eyes. The holographic displays were still active, showing him more of the galaxy's hidden history. "They know," he said quietly. "The other species. They know what's happening here." "Know what?" Dr. Vexhai asked, but his skin had turned a deep purple that Jake somehow understood meant fear. "That the artifacts are responding to me. That someone finally activated them after 50,000 years. Commander Lisa Park's voice crackled over the communication system. "Dr. Vexhai, we have a problem. A Hegemony Council fleet just dropped out of hyperspace. 3 Varillan warships, 2 Vec cruisers, and something I've never seen before. They're demanding immediate access to the station. This is not possible," Dr. Vexhai said. "How could they know what has happened here?" Aurora 9 answered. "The activation sent a quantum signal across the galaxy. Every progenitor installation, every hidden archive, every dormant system is now awakening. They cannot hide the truth any longer." Jake finally stepped away from the crystal, and the immediate flow of information stopped. But he could still feel a connection, like a door had been opened in his mind that could never be closed again. "Dr. Vexhai, you need to understand something," Jake said. "Your research station, all this advanced technology, it's not really Zelkari innovation, is it?" The alien scientist's skin went completely gray. "I do not understand what you mean." "Yes, you do. The holographics showed me. Most of the technology that the galaxy uses, the faster-than-light travel, the artificial intelligence, the energy systems, it all came from the progenitors. Other species found their ruins and reverse-engineered their technology. That is impossible. The Zelkari have been spacefaring for 50,000 years. 50,000 years, Jake repeated. Exactly when the progenitors disappeared. What a coincidence. The docking bay doors opened, and Jake could hear footsteps in the corridors. Lots of footsteps, moving quickly. Commander Lisa Park burst into the laboratory, followed by a human Jake didn't recognize. The man was tall and military-looking, wearing the uniform of Earth's Star Fleet. "Jake, we need to go." "Now," Lisa said urgently. "Commander Park, what's happening?" Dr. Vexhai asked. "The Hegemony Council is here," the military man said. "I'm Captain Nick Hayes of the Starship Constellation. We received an emergency signal from Earth Command. Every human colony in the galaxy is reporting strange technological activations. Old ruins are lighting up. Ancient artifacts are responding to human touch, and the other species are panicking." Jake looked around the laboratory. The crystals were still glowing, still pulsing with that steady rhythm. "Captain Hayes, I think I need to stay here. There's more to learn." "Absolutely not," Captain Hayes said. "The Council fleet has weapons pointed at this station. They're claiming that humans have violated galactic law by activating Forbidden's technology." "Forbidden by who?" Jake asked. Dr. Vexhai's skin showed rapid color changes. The progenitor artifacts were classified as dangerous by the Hegemony Council 2,000 years ago. All research was supposed to be supervised by Council representatives. "But you've been studying them in secret," Jake realized. "The Zelkari have been studying them for much longer than that," Captain Hayes said grimly. "Dr. Amy Rodriguez, our xenarchaeologist, analyzed the Council's own records during the flight here. Every major species has been secretly researching progenitor technology for thousands of years." Jake felt pieces clicking together in his mind. They've been hiding something. All of them? That's why they're scared. The communication system activated, and a new voice filled the laboratory. It was cold, mechanical, and speaking in perfect English. "Attention, Station Aurora 9. This is Ambassador Thickener of the Varillan Empire, representing the Hegemony Council. You will immediately surrender the human known as Jake Martinez and all progenitor artifacts in your possession." "Like hell," Captain Hayes muttered. "Jake Martinez," the voice continued, "you have violated Galactic Code 847 by interacting with restricted technology. You will be taken into custody for questioning and processing. Processing? Jake asked. Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward. Jake hadn't noticed her enter, but she was carrying a tablet showing data streams. Jake, I've been analyzing the quantum signals coming from this station. They're not just random energy bursts. They're communication signals, and they're being answered. Answered by what? By installations all over the galaxy. On human worlds, on abandoned planets, even on Earth itself. The signal is activating progenitor technology that's been dormant for 50,000 years. Jake looked at the crystals, still pulsing with their steady light. Aurora 9, what happens if I leave? Will the artifacts shut down again? Unknown. The AI replied, the activation sequence is incomplete. Full integration requires extended contact with a compatible consciousness. Compatible with what? Dr. Vexhai spoke quietly, his skin now showing patterns Jake had never seen before. Jake Martinez, I must tell you something. When we first began studying these artifacts, we compared their energy signatures to all known life forms in our database. And the signatures were closest to human brain patterns. We thought it was coincidence. Captain Hayes checked his weapon. It's not coincidence, is it? Jake felt the truth settling in his mind like puzzle pieces finding their proper places. The progenitors. They didn't just disappear 50,000 years ago. Some of them survived. Survived where? Dr. Rodriguez asked. Jake touched the crystal again, and the warm glow intensified. Images filled his mind. A blue-green world, primitive humanoids, genetic markers being carefully introduced into a developing species. Earth, Jake whispered. They went to Earth. The laboratory fell silent, except for the humming of the crystals and the distant sound of ships docking. Jake realized that everything was about to change, not just for him, but for all of humanity. The question was whether the other species would let that change happen. The laboratory doors burst open. 6 armed figures in environmental suits marched in, their weapons trained on Jake and the humans. Behind them walked a tall, insectoid creature with 4 arms and glittering compound eyes. Its translation device spoke in the same cold voice they had heard over the communications. I am Ambassador Thickener, it said. Jake Martinez, you will step away from the progenitor artifacts immediately. Why? Jake asked, heaping his hand on the crystal. What are you afraid of? We are not afraid. We are being cautious. Progenitor technology is dangerous to all galactic civilization. Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward, her tablet still showing streams of data. That's interesting, Ambassador, because according to the records I've accessed, your own species has been studying progenitor artifacts for over 3,000 years. The alien's compound eyes shifted colors. Dr. Rodriguez, you are accessing classified information. Information that should have been shared with humanity from the beginning. Captain Hayes said. Care to explain why it wasn't? Ambassador Thickener. 4 arms gestured dismissively. Humans are a young species. You lack the wisdom to handle such powerful technology responsibly. Jake felt anger rising in his chest. The crystal under his hand pulsed brighter, and suddenly he could sense more than just the artifacts in this room. There were others scattered across the galaxy, all beginning to wake up. And something else, a presence that had been sleeping for 50,000 years. You're lying, Jake said. All of you. You've known about humans for a long time, haven't you? The ambassador's translation device remained silent for several seconds. Finally, it spoke. What do you mean? First contact, Jake said, the knowledge flowing into him from the crystal. You claim you discovered Earth 30 years ago, but that's not true. You've known about humans for decades, maybe centuries. Dr. Vexhai's skin had turned completely white. Jake, how could you know this? Because the artifacts are showing me. They're connected to databases across the galaxy, records that were hidden but never destroyed. Jake's eyes were closed now, information streaming through his consciousness. You found Earth 60 years ago. You detected the genetic markers immediately. You knew what humans were. What we are? Captain Hayes asked. Descendants, Jake whispered. The progenitors didn't all die 50,000 years ago. Some of them escaped to a distant world, a primitive planet where they could hide and slowly integrate with the developing species. Ambassador Theckener stepped forward menacingly. You'll stop this immediately. The human will be taken into custody. No, Dr. Vexai said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at the Zelkari scientist. His skin was showing rapid patterns of blue and purple. I will not allow it, Dr. Vexai, the ambassador said in surprise. For 2,000 years, I have studied progenitor artifacts, Dr. Vexai said. I have seen the evidence of their achievements, their wisdom, their contributions to galactic civilization. If humans are their descendants, then they have a right to this knowledge. You do not understand the full situation, Ambassador Theckenor replied. The progenitors were not the peaceful teachers you believed them to be. They were dangerous. They had to be stopped. Jake opened his eyes. Stopped by who? The ambassador's compound eyes shifted again. By those who understood the threat they posed. What threat? Dr. Rodriguez demanded. Captain Hayes checked his weapon. The kind of threat that makes you hunt down an entire species and steal their technology? You oversimplify, the ambassador said. The progenitors possessed abilities that threatened the natural order. They could manipulate matter at the quantum level, influence the minds of other species, create technology that responded to thought alone. They were becoming gods, and gods have no place in a civilized galaxy. Jake felt a chill as more information flowed from the crystal. Images of battles, entire star systems going dark, fleets of ships hunting down the last progenitor strongholds. So, you killed them, Jake said quietly. An alliance of species, working together to destroy the progenitors. We saved the galaxy from tyranny, Ambassador Theckener said firmly. And then you divided up their technology among yourselves, Dr. Rodriguez added, reading from her tablet. Your faster-than-light drives, your artificial intelligence systems, your energy weapons, all of it based on progenitor designs. We preserved their knowledge for the benefit of all species. All species except their descendants, Captain Hayes said. You've been keeping humans weak and dependent, haven't you? Making sure we never developed our full potential. The crystal under Jake's hand was growing warm, almost hot. Around the room, the other artifacts were beginning to resonate, their light growing stronger. Aurora 9, Jake called out. Show them the truth. The holographic displays activated again, but this time they showed something different. Star charts appeared, showing the location of every human colony in the galaxy. Each one was marked with symbols indicating progenitor installations beneath the surface or hidden nearby. Impossible, Ambassador Theckener breathed. Not impossible, Aurora 9 said. Inevitable. The progenitors planned for their survival. They seeded dozens of worlds with their genetics and their technology, programmed to activate when their descendants were ready. Ready for what? Dr. Vexai asked. Jake could feel the answer forming in his mind. To reclaim what was stolen from us. To take back our heritage. The ambassador raised one of his forearms, and his guards aimed their weapons. This ends now. The human will be taken into custody, and all progenitor artifacts will be secured. I don't think so, Captain Hayes said, raising his own weapon. But before anyone could fire, the crystals erupted with light. The energy wasn't just visual anymore. Jake could feel it in his bones, in his blood, in every cell of his body. And he wasn't alone. Through the crystal, He could sense other humans across the galaxy experiencing the same awakening. "The network is complete," Aurora 9 announced. "Progenitor archives are now accessible to authorized descendants. Welcome home, children of the stars." Ambassador Thickener backed toward the door. "This changes nothing. The Council will not allow humans to possess progenitor technology." "The Council can try to stop us," Jake said, standing up from the crystal. "But we're not alone anymore. Every human colony, every hidden installation, every piece of technology our ancestors left for us is waking up." Dr. Rodriguez looked at her tablet in amazement. "Jake, I'm getting reports from across the galaxy. Human colonies are discovering underground facilities that just activated. Earth is detecting massive energy signatures from sites that were thought to be ancient ruins. And the best part," Jake said, smiling for the first time since this all began, "is that the technology only responds to human consciousness. You can't use it without us." Ambassador Thickener's translation device made what sounded like a growl. "We will see about that." As the ambassador and his guards retreated, Jake looked around at his companions. Dr. Vexhi's skin was showing colors he had never seen before, patterns that somehow conveyed wonder and hope. "What happens now?" the Zelkari scientist asked. Jake placed his hand back on the crystal, feeling the vast network of progenitor technology spreading across the galaxy like awakening neurons. "Now we learn who we really are, and we show the galaxy that humans are nobody's junior partners anymore." The crystal pulsed one more time, and Jake felt the full weight of 50,000 years of hidden history settling on his shoulders. The hardest part was just beginning. 3 hours after Ambassador Thickener left the station, the real test began. Jake stood in the laboratory, his hands pressed against multiple crystals at once. The artifacts had formed a connection that reached across the galaxy, linking him to awakening progenitor installations on hundreds of worlds. Through this network, he could feel other humans making the same discoveries he had made. "Jake," Dr. Rodriguez called from her position at a holographic display, "I'm receiving signals from Earth. The Antarctic installation is fully active. The one beneath the Pacific Ocean is coming online. And there are 12 more sites responding to the quantum pulse." "What about the colonies?" Captain Hayes asked. "New Tokyo, Mars Central, Europa Station, all reporting activation of previously unknown underground facilities. The colonists are finding chambers full of technology that responds only to human touch." Dr. Vexhi stood nearby, his skin showing patterns of amazement and concern. "Jake, what you have unleashed will change everything. The balance of power in the galaxy, the very foundation of our civilization." "Good," Jake said simply. "Because your civilization was built on lies." The main screen in the laboratory flickered, and Aurora 9's voice filled the room. "Incoming transmission from the Hegemony Council fleet. They are requesting immediate conference." "Put them through," Captain Hayes ordered. Ambassador Thickener's image appeared on the screen, but he was not alone. Representatives from 6 different species stood behind him, their faces showing expressions that Jake was learning to read as fear and anger. "Jake Martinez," the ambassador said, "we offer you a choice. Shut down the progenitor network immediately, and humanity will be granted full membership in the Hegemony Council with all the privileges that entails." "And if I refuse?" Jake asked. "Then you will be classified as a rogue species, and the full might of the Galactic Fleet will be brought against Earth and all human colonies." Jake looked around the room at his companions. Captain Hayes had his hand on his weapon. Dr. Rodriguez was frantically taking notes. Dr. Vexhi's skin was cycling through colors that seemed to indicate internal conflict. "Aurora 9, Jake said, "show me the complete progenitor archives. Everything." "Jake, are you sure?" Captain Hayes asked. We don't know what that much information might do to your mind. I need to understand what we're really dealing with." The crystals flared with brilliant light, and suddenly Jake's consciousness expanded beyond anything he had ever imagined. He could see the galaxy as the progenitors had seen it 50,000 years ago. Hundreds of species, most of them young, and struggling, guided and helped by the advanced civilization that had discovered the secrets of consciousness and quantum mechanics. But he also saw the fear. As the younger species grew stronger with progenitor help, some of them began to worry about their place in the galaxy. What would happen when they no longer needed guidance? What if the progenitors decided to withdraw their support? The war hadn't started with hatred. It had started with fear. "I see it now," Jake whispered. The progenitors weren't trying to be gods. They were trying to be teachers. But their students got scared and turned against them. "And now you want revenge?" "Ambassador," Thechner asked through the screen. Jake opened his eyes and looked directly at the alien ambassador. "No, I want justice. I want the truth to be known. And I want humanity to take its rightful place in the galaxy." "Your rightful place is as junior members of the galactic community," one of the other representatives said. "Our rightful place," Jake replied, "is as the inheritors of the most advanced civilization the galaxy has ever known." He pressed his hands more firmly against the crystals, and the network responded. Across the galaxy, human colonies were discovering the full extent of their hidden heritage. Technology that could manipulate matter at the molecular level, ships that could travel instantly between star systems, weapons that could defend entire solar systems. But more than that, they were discovering abilities that went beyond technology. The progenitor genetic modifications were activating, giving humans intuitive understanding of complex science, the ability to interface directly with quantum fields, and consciousness that could reach across space itself. "The network is fully active," Aurora 9 reported. "All progenitor installations are responding to human operators. Earth's defensive systems are online. Colony worlds are accessing their hidden archives." Ambassador Thickener's image flickered with interference. "You are making a terrible mistake. The galaxy is not ready for the return of progenitor technology. The galaxy has been using progenitor technology for 50,000 years," Dr. Rodriguez pointed out. "You just didn't want the original owners to have it back." Jake felt a new presence in the network. Other humans, scattered across the galaxy, were beginning to link their consciousness with his. Scientists on Earth, engineers on Mars, colonists on distant worlds, all awakening to their true heritage. "Dr. Vexhai," Jake said, "I want to offer you something." The Zelkari scientist's skin showed surprise. "What do you mean?" "Partnership. Real partnership. Your people have been studying progenitor technology longer than anyone. You understand it better than most species. Work with us. Help us use this knowledge responsibly." Dr. Vexhai looked at the screen where Ambassador Thickener and the other representatives waited. Then he looked back at Jake. "You would trust us, after everything our species has hidden from you?" "You didn't hide it from us," Jake replied. "You were following council orders. But when the time came to choose, you chose to help me learn the truth." The Zelkari scientist's skin cycled through several colors before settling on a warm blue that Jake somehow knew meant agreement. "I accept your offer, Jake Martinez. The Zelkari people will stand with humanity." "Traitor," Ambassador Thickener hissed through the screen. "No," Dr. Vexhai replied calmly. "I am finally doing what the progenitors would have wanted, helping their children reach their full potential." Jake closed his eyes and reached out through the network one more time. He could feel the vast web of technology and consciousness that connected every human in the galaxy. They were ready. "Ambassador Thickener," Jake said, opening his eyes, "here's my counteroffer. The Hegemony Council can either accept humanity as an equal partner in galactic civilization, or you can try to fight us. But you should know that we're not the same species you've been controlling for 30 years. You cannot threaten the entire galaxy, the ambassador replied. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm offering you the same choice the progenitors offered your ancestors 50,000 years ago. Work together or work alone. The screen went dark as the council representatives cut the transmission. Captain Hayes checked his weapon again. Think they'll take the deal? Some will, Jake said. Others will try to fight, but it doesn't matter anymore. The secret is out. Humans know who they really are. Dr. Rodriguez looked up from her tablet. Jake, I'm getting reports from across the galaxy. Human colonies are demanding equal representation in the Hegemony Council. Earth is refusing to follow any more council directives until humanity gets a full seat at the table. And the other species? Mixed reactions. Some are panicking. Others are celebrating. Apparently, a lot of species have been unhappy with council leadership for a long time. Jake smiled and stepped back from the crystals. The network would remain active now, connecting humanity across the galaxy with the technology and knowledge of their ancestors. The age of humanity as junior partners was over. Dr. Vexhai, Jake said, ready to help us build something new? He? Zalkari scientist's skin showed colors that Jake understood meant excitement and hope. I have been ready for 2,000 years, Jake Martinez. Let us show the galaxy what the children of the progenitors can accomplish. Outside the station, ships from dozens of different species were arriving. Some came in peace, seeking alliance with the newly awakened humans. Others came with weapons, determined to maintain the old order. But Jake wasn't worried anymore. For the first time in 50,000 years, the progenitors' children were truly awake. And the galaxy would never be the same again. The crystals pulsed one final time, their light now steady and warm. The message was clear. After 50 millennia, the progenitors had finally come home.